Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Hi, Debbie. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I have a little bit of a cold, but other than that, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm sorry you have a cold.
Yeah, I'm going to go take something so I'm not sniffling the whole time.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning. I'm in the same spot.
You haven't moved. You changed your clothes, though, and I appreciate that.
I did. I almost put on a similar shirt and necklace this morning just for the heck of it. So you think I sat here all night.
It's all good. It's all good.
Which would not be true, of course. But.
Yeah, we had to change clothes and wash our hair at least, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. Oh, we'll give everybody a couple more minutes here. In the meantime, you guys are welcome to use the chat box for your name and email address. That normal doohickey.
Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning.
Oh, poor
Do you take your? I see you're diffusing something behind you, Debbie. Is that going to help you?
On guard, yes.
Good.
Yeah, I've been diffusing it all week. It's funny, I talked to Donna Rudowitz this morning.
Mm-hmm.
She had the same cold. I'm like, my throat, my nose, I couldn't sleep. She's like,
oh, no. Oh, I figured you have to present today, too.
That's okay. This is an easy one.
What were you saying, Faye?
I was asking if she tried some Mucinex.
I do have that. I'll take that a little bit later.
Mucinex makes me tired.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to take it a little bit later.
I take it at night only.
Yeah, like otherwise, it's a great.
It's not supposed to.
I know, but it does. I'm like my mother. Any little side effect I get, like 100%.
Yeah.
So
NyQuil really works for me, but I have to take half a dose.
Yes, I would only take one pill, and Dayquil too. If I just take half of it, works great. Take two, I'm out like a light.
That's what I do. Yeah.
It's so silly.
Better joke. Pretty flowers in the background.
Aren't they gorgeous? They're from Fabienne and Derek Fredrickson.
I have a matching set.
Yeah, I know.
Aren't they gorgeous? I haven't had roses probably in 35 or 40 years.
Aww.
And they're not my favorite, but I have to say that it was so lovely and it was such a nice surprise. And I think I love roses now.
You'll have to buy them for yourself.
I will. I normally do buy myself flowers every week. So yeah,
that's awesome. Who we got here? We got good morning, Mary Beth. We got Connie Joe, and I think Hannah. There's Hannah. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're doing the chat box duties. If you guys want to do your chat box typing, you have Elizabeth James. That's not Elizabeth James.
No.
Hi. Good to see you, sweetie.
That's one of my clients, and I'm letting her use my Zoom for a webinar that she's doing tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
The girls changed it so she'd look good.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad you're here with your alias. That's awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. If anybody else joins us, we'll just welcome them in. But it's welcome to the Virtual Networkers, the one right after Thanksgiving, right?
I know, right? Feels like it was forever ago.
I know. Or as Hannah calls it, Thursday. We are nearing to December. I can't even believe it. And so a happy Hanukkah in advance to Faye.
Thank you.
Yes. And anybody else celebrate? That's the only one who celebrates Hanukkah, right? Yeah, I think so. We know Connie Jo celebrates Festivus. We'll say Festivus celebrations to her when we get closer. So we'll go ahead and do our elevator speeches. And since we all kind of know each other, let's also add a favorite holiday tradition, whatever holiday you want to choose. Everybody's like, oh, shit, I feel like I think this morning? Yeah, let's think. Just a quick one. So we'll get started with Faye. Do you mind kicking us off?
Good morning, everybody. Faye Tarshis, My holiday tradition, which is the least healthy of any of ours, is latkes.
Mm.
How healthy you want to make a latke, you're just not going to do it. So they get
No. Who
fried.
eats healthy holiday food anyway?
I know, boring. Up a little bit, I make zucchini latkes. So does that?
Oh, you have to share some recipes with that. That sounds delicious.
I actually still use the same recipe that my mother made with her latkes.
Oh,
Oh.
lovely.
She wasn't a great cook at all. She could bake like nobody's business, but she made the meanest damn latkes you ever ate. And I
Really?
same recipe, and I will be making them tomorrow because we're doing.
Nice. How nice. That's a lovely son. That's a great way to remember mom, right?
There's just some things I just kind of use, and other things I pretend I don't know.
Exactly. Pick and choose.
Is that good about it?
We were just talking about that, Debbie, weren't we? Your call yesterday about picking the right memories and
Yeah,
tossing out the rest.
mention the rest.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
good.
wait, good
Your
to
latkes.
keep it. So go away.
I love it. Oh, I love latkes. I'm like, I must be an inner Jewish girl because
Applesauce or sour cream?
applesauce. Oh,
Sour cream.
I love them both. I can eat them all day long. It doesn't matter. You could put chocolate now. Chocolate.
You know,
can eat-
y'all have 2Js, right? You stuff 2Js in your area?
Have
Yes.
what?
Yes. 2Js.
Yeah, their latkes suck. Don't
That's not where I'd go. I'd go to a good Jewish deli or something. We do have a
There's
few.
so few and far between.
I know.
We don't have any Jewish delis. Lucky Dill is the closest thing.
That's
in our
true.
area.
Yeah, we'd have to go to New York.
Have to go to Miami.
That's
Yeah.
it. I'll hit the other
I
coast.
live in
Yeah.
Atlanta, and we don't have it either. So,
Aw.
that's such a-
Well, Faye, thank you so much for that memory. I appreciate that. So now it's my turn. I'm next on the Brady Bunch. I'm Jill Celeste, founder of the Celestial Circle. You all know me. Hi. My favorite holiday tradition is I have a pet tree, and it's decorated with, it's a small tree, and it has all sorts of pets ornaments that I've purchased over the year. And you can tell that I first started out with cats because I have a ton of cat ornaments. And then I got Emma, so now I have basset hound ornaments, and of course now the guinea pigs, so I have guinea pig ornaments. And Santa does deliver presents and puts them under that tree for any animal that's in my house at the time. So that's a lot of fun. The kids really loved that when they were little because they would put the little carrot out or the ball or whatever. Now the pigs get a big carrot, with the leaves hanging off, and Emma gets a bone. And sometimes Emma finds the bone before I want her to, but that's it. So that's one of my holiday traditions. All right, Debbie, you're next.
I'm next. So I'm Debbie Keevan of DeborahKeevan.com, where I help visionary entrepreneurs tell their stories of healing and truth. And my favorite family tradition is one that I started when my children were born. Every year we get an ornament, each of us. So my children have an ornament every year. I get a new ornament every year. And it really encapsulates what we were interested in. And so when we decorate our tree, it takes all day because we unwrap them and tell the stories that went with them of what they were into, and the Ninja Turtles and the Spider-Mans and trips that we took. And it's just such a lovely walk down memory lane. There are ornaments from my grandmother and ornaments that she and I made together. And so it's just really a way to connect all of our history together. So it's like one of my favorite days of the year.
Oh, that's fun. I love that idea. Clever idea. Thank you for sharing that. Hannah, your turn.
Hello, good morning.
Good afternoon.
I am Hanne Brutter from Your Brand Vision, and I'm a graphic designer. And for the Christmas tradition, I think I will pick the potato Santa.
What's that?
Since we are in the food department, because I always celebrated Christmas with my sister before she died for many, many, many years. And one of the drawbacks with having the designer peel the potatoes is that she got hung up in, I was carving Santa Clauses out of every potato.
Oh my God.
So I was made to stop because it took too long time, and we never get finished with the potatoes. But I have continued the potato Santa Claus thing for my nephew, because he was always the one who ate my Santa Clauses.
Oh my gosh.
So we are not celebrating with my sister, obviously, because she's not with us anymore, and I'm even not celebrating together with this nephew because he's with his father. And yes, so last year I made a Santa Claus potato and took it in a jar with lots of water so it shouldn't turn brown. And I went to where he was celebrating Christmas, and I delivered the Christmas potato to him. So, and I intend to do the same this year.
Oh my, you've got to take a picture though. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Now we
they
want
were
to
on
see it.
Facebook each year.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. What a cool story. Thank you, Hannah. I'm sure your nephew loves it. What a great memory for his mom too. Yeah. Cool things. All right, Mary Beth, what you carving?
Oh, no carving. Dangerous stuff. I'm doing Christmas cookies. That's my thing. And, and it was a lot of fun when the kids were little. I get my granddaughter over when I can to do it. And I really got very happy because I was talking to my daughter. She's out in Oregon. She said, Mom, the Christmas cookies you sent last year, there's a whole crew out there who are on a farm, the medical marijuana farm. She says, we want all the Christmas cookies you can send us. They're a big hit. So I'm thinking big deliveries to Oregon. And actually thinking about it, you think about the marijuana munchies, so it's even funnier now.
That's why I was chuckling. I'm like,
I was thinking, like, oh, okay, so they're probably sampling the.
they got to make sure the product's good.
The product, yeah. I gotta say, in Faye, I grew up, and my dad with German, background, and we did call potato pancakes, but they look like latkes. Delicious. My mom was not the cook, my dad was, but we didn't know. We said pancakes. We put maple syrup on them. Oddly good with applesauce. So yeah, I don't know, but it really worked. So thank you for that memory too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, potato
I
pancakes.
never thought about syrup. Never.
Give it a little try. Just dip it and see if you think.
I might try it.
I love it. Oh, Margaret, I bet you have a great tradition. Let's hear it.
Well, good morning. I'm Margaret Martin from margaretmartin.com, helping people change their mindset so they can have a happy life. Well, it's interesting. Traditions change through the years in our family simply because, we've got all children are married. Now we have in-laws and outlaws and and things. I actually like to share two quick traditions. One is my mother always made a coconut cake for Christmas. And when I started, after I was divorced, I started making the coconut cake for our Christmas dinner. And I really couldn't find one. So her recipe, because evidently, I don't know how she created it anyway. So anyway, I make a coconut cake most every Christmas. Here again, it sort of depends on where we are and what we're doing. And so the other new tradition that started several years ago at my daughter's for all of our family is we gather there on Christmas morning and we do our gift exchange. We draw names in our family now and do our gift exchange. But she puts up a wall of wrapping paper. And she has the Christmas trees in another room, and there's an opening. So she covers the whole wall with wrapping paper. So the kids can't see in there, so that they aren't so anxious to jump, go, and they're not tall enough to see over the bar into the room. And so they go outside and bring in, whatever Santa brought that needs to go in first thing in the morning, or any of our other presents or different things like that. So then the kids burst through the wall of wallpaper, of wrapping paper, and then we start with opening our gifts.
Oh,
so
what a cool idea.
It is sort of fun.
That is, it's like the football players running through the banner.
Yeah. It was funny at first they didn't know how to do it. And now
Yeah, they're experts. They're
Max
probably.
will be 8 in,
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
January, so I'm sure he's going to go bursting through this year.
Aw, what a cool idea. Hats off to you. Was it your daughter who said who did that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. A neat idea. That's a Pinterest idea. I'm surprised that's not on there. Judy Fritz, how are you? Share with us your tradition.
Well, I will tell you, first, Judy Fritz in Bel Air, Maryland, and it's chilly. And I run VIP services. We're a virtual assistant team supporting entrepreneurs. And I will tell you, my new favorite tradition is a new tradition. We just kind of, last year we went, we always said that we wanted to go down, and you guys will appreciate this because a lot of you are down in Florida, but we always wanted to go down to Florida, do no gifts, and just make Disney the trip.
Nice.
And that's the gift. So last year we did that, and it was so amazing that we're doing it again this year.
Oh, fun.
Fun.
Yeah, so we put lights in our windows, and we don't put up the tree. We don't do anything like that. We just go down, we stay with my son, and it's just, you guys, I don't know, for me, just being in warmth and being able to celebrate is, you can still celebrate Christmas even though you're warm.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
And
and
you're here in Florida.
more enjoyable, I think, because you're not, freezing cold. And Disney even makes it snow. So
Disney is, if you've never seen Walt Disney World or any of the Disney resorts at Christmas, it is
oh,
breathtaking. Just
it
gorgeous,
is.
gorgeous.
It
Highly
is.
recommend it. Go
And I
before Christmas.
really like to take my mom down. I'm trying to figure out how that could happen, but yeah, that's my next goal.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
great.
good.
Enjoy it for sure.
I can't wait.
Okay, Connie Jo, I want to hear your Festivus tradition. Just kidding. It doesn't have to be Festivus.
Every year we go to Home Depot and we pick out a new aluminum pole. We bring it home and we polish it. No, not really. We actually celebrate Christmas, but in a non-religious way, I guess you would say. So we have the tree and stuff. But the tradition that we do every year is, and it was started by my mom, is she would make a a chain out of construction paper, and it would be alternating red and green links. And then she would make a star out of cardboard and cover it with aluminum foil. So the star goes on the top, and then we'd have the chain on the wall. And every day, as it got closer to Christmas, we'd tear off a link. So I do that with my kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's a way to see how long it is until
Yeah.
Santa's there, but we still do it. And it's fun. And then I added giving them ornaments. So when it was their day to tear off the link, they would get an ornament. And I started this ridiculous tradition of certain Hallmark ornaments. And my son's is the Lionel train one.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they used to just have an engine, and then they had an engine and a boxcar, and then they had an engine and a boxcar and a caboose. So what was one ornament turned in, you got to get 3 ornaments. They're not cheap.
No, they're not. Marker.
So now I buy them at
Investment.
Kohl's. They have them at Kohl's, and I get one when they have their 30% off coupon, or you get all of them, really. So that's his. And then my daughter's is a series called Snow Buddies. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know.
it's a snowman with an animal.
Yeah.
That's
Those
her
are
thing.
cute.
So she gets her snow buddy, and this year it's a lamb. She is a snowman with a lamb. So that's our tradition.
That's
and then we'll
lovely. I
have
love
all
that.
these cool ornaments, and
Yeah.
we get to see Christmas getting closer and closer as the chain gets shorter and shorter.
Yeah. That's what y'all should do for your 21 videos. Just make a link of 21. You can make it whatever color you want to celebrate.
Yeah.
And as you do one, you just rip it off.
Yeah. Rip it off.
Damn it, Jill.
His version of the Advent calendar.
Yeah. There you go. Well, that was fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It's something a little different. Get to know each other in different ways, right? So now we're going to flip over to Debbie Keevan. And Debbie is going to talk to us about her journeys, and I'll do a quick intro. Are you going to do some screen share or just talking? Well, we have to hear you first. Unfortunately, you're muted.
Unfortunately, I'm muted. Yes, I have some things to share.
All right. Well, let me do your little bio first, and then Debbie, take the stage. I think all of us know Debbie, but I'd like to read the official bio anyway, because sometimes we learn something new. So Debbie is a two-time, not one, but two-time international best-selling co-author, and she loves helping visionary entrepreneurs attract their ideal clients by tapping into and sharing their stories of healing and truth. That is for sure. She is a member of, ready? Association of Writing Professionals, Association of Ghostwriters, Editorial Freelance Association, and National Association of Memoir Writers. She's a graduate of, get this, Stanford University's Creative Writing Program, and is a Penn State University alumnus. And she's also the associate editor with Little Inspired Living Publishing and another company that I'm not going to try to pronounce because I always butcher it. You can tell them. And she loves traveling, cooking, hiking, and kayaking. She lives in Maryland with her family and her cat, Princess Leia. How was that?
Yeah, beautifully done.
Thank you.
Beautifully done. So thank you, everyone, for inviting me to talk a little bit about my Camino journey. And I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Surprise. So let me just give a little bit of background about what even the Camino is for those of you who haven't heard me speak about it ad nauseum. So the Camino is one of many ancient pathways in Europe that lead to what are traditionally holy sites in the Christian religion. There are really three main ones. The first one goes to Rome, the second one to Jerusalem, and the third is to Santiago, Spain. Now, the word Santiago literally translates to St. James, and St. James was one of Christ's 12 apostles. So people have walked this pilgrimage to Santiago for over 1,000 years. The first recorded Camino journey took place in 982. And it was by a guy named Guy Lepoy, and he came from Lepoy, France. So if you're familiar with Lepoy lentils, that's where the lentils come from. That's about 1,000 miles from Lepoy to Santiago. So for about 500 years, the Camino actually fell into disrepair and people stopped walking it. But in the 1980s, it had a resurgence when one of the cardinals took it upon himself to start to restore some of the ancient pathways. So let me just paint a picture for you. You know, the modern Camino is very different than the ancient Camino. So when people would start their Camino journey back in the day, they would often do it for reasons that they were assigned by the church. They would do it because they were trying to profess their faith. They were doing it as a punishment. They were atoning for their sins. Or it was an opportunity for them to venerate the series of relics that are along the way at the various cathedrals and churches. But back in the day, the Moors controlled Spain. And so Christians crossing across Spain, it was actually a very treacherous journey. And people would leave their homes with only a knapsack and a cockle shell, which is what this is, and a gourd. And this is a miniature of a gourd. And they had different purposes. They would have just a knapsack. Often they were barefoot, and they would walk all those miles along the way. And they would be hit upon by bandits. They would, because they had bare feet, they would have infected injuries, all kinds of things. So the most common thing to find along the Camino were hospices and pilgrim hospitals. But you needed to actually have your symbol of the Camino to get entry into those hospitals. Now, all of those hospitals have fallen into disrepair, and you can see along the way examples of their remains. So the other thing that you have to get to prove that you walk the Camino is something called a credencial. And so this is the modern one, and I got this in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which is about 15 miles from the Spanish border, and it's on the French side of the Pyrenees. So I'm just going to show you very quickly. What you do is you get it stamped at all these various places along the way. And I did about 2 sections of the Camino, and so every place has a different stamp, and they're really gorgeous. So someday I'll have this framed when it's full. So let me just show you, I'm going to share my screen and show you the length of my journey. Bear with me while I share the screen and find my desktop. Here we go. I blew it. I didn't want to show you that part. Nope, that's not it either. Hang on. There it is. So this is an image of the journey that I was supposed to walk this year. So it started in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which, as you can see, is in France, and then all these places along the way. Our journey was separated into 6 different days. Each day was intended to be about 18 miles, which is long. I will tell you that it was unseasonably hot this year. The average temperature was 96 degrees. We had very little shade, almost no breeze, and it was treacherous. So what happened was we started in Saint-Jean, and we climbed up the Pyrenees the first day. It took 13 and a half hours. We left before the sunrise, and we came into Roncesvalles as dusk was falling. So there was this mist and just this incredible feeling of going into this town. So Roncesvalles is not really a town. It's actually a monastery. And it has been converted. Part of it has been converted into this gorgeous old hotel, which you'll see pictures of in a moment. And the rest of it is a monastery. Literally, the days would start in the morning, and we would walk 18 miles. We'd leave at sunrise or just after, and we would walk about 13 hours every day. We'd have little breaks here and there, and we'd get to our hotel. The first thing we would do is check in, shower, eat, put our legs up against the wall at a 45, basically straight up to drain the lactic acid, and then we would collapse into bed, and we'd start it all over again. And what I realized for me was that, most of you know, I had a heel injury. So this walking from Roncesvalles to Zubiri we had to go up the first day, and then we had to go down the second day. And the second day in the end, I developed a blister that I treated, but unfortunately, because of the repetitive nature, and the heel, I lost my heel. That's the long and the short of it. So the beautiful thing was, for the next 4 days, I did some recovery, and I got to spend some time exploring the towns that I would have otherwise just walked into at dusk, gone to sleep, and left again. So I created a little video montage. So let me share that with you to just show you some of the art and some of the things that we've seen. And then I'll answer some questions at the end. Sound good? Okay, let's see if I can get this big.
It's the loudest sound when the heart knows what it wants and makes it known. So I'm leaving this town, 'cause it's the season that changes all things and you go. But who am I leave where I'm from. When the rear view facing west holds all I love. And before me is October, where I might become my own fall. But might never know my cards till I call. Deep in the lion's den, I've noticed autumn holds a difference in the east. It's made up of different reds. Oh, that color's bold, but just a lonely shade of green. But who is I to leave where I'm from? When the rear view facing west held all I loved. And before me was October, where I might become my own fall. But I'd never know my cards till I call. This is my loudest sound, and it's meant for no one but my loved ones at rest. I'll aim to make you proud on a southern stage lit by the lights, doing what I do best. Oh, who's I to leave where I'm from? When the rear view facing west held all I loved. And before me was October, where I might become my own fall. But I'd never know my cards till I call. Who's I to leave where I'm from? When the rear view facing west held.
That's it. So I think the thing that I took away from the Camino, the most important thing was the gift of being unplugged. As a mom and a single parent for most of my children's lives, being on call and being constantly vigilant, always having my phone accessible, always being able to plug in, I didn't realize how important it was for me to completely unplug and to really walk and just be. And as uncomfortable as it was physically, what it gave me an opportunity to do was just be with my thoughts and really honor what was coming up and really walk it through. As many of you know, there were some challenges besides my heel, and my cat nearly died. And thankfully, Mary Beth was on call, and she, I believe, saved Leia's life because she convinced her to stick around. And so having something come up where it was completely outside of my control and really having to lean in to the support and love of other people was transformative. And I encourage you to find your own Camino. And so that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Faye, go ahead.
That looks like an amazing trip, and your photos do tell an amazing story. Your little video almost had me to tears throughout a couple of it. My curiosity is, what made you choose this route? Was there a pull? Was it a religious thing? Was it a curiosity? What made you choose that route to go?
It's so interesting. I'm glad you asked that question. I get it asked a lot. I didn't even know that. So I'm a huge historian. I mean, I love history, and like I'm Jill. I read about a lot of things. I've hiked all over the world, and up until about 2012 or 13, I had never even heard of the Camino at all. like not even on my radar. And a friend of mine called me out of the blue and he said, you're such an avid hiker. How have you ever heard of this movie called The Way? No, I hadn't heard of it. So I happened to be home alone one day and was bored. And so I watched it by myself. And it was an incredibly powerful story. And it was about the Camino. And really, at that moment that I saw it, I just knew that I had to walk it. I have no idea why. I think for me, it's just a gift. It's not so much a religious thing as it is a spiritual path. And it's a way to completely connect. It's certainly a physical challenge, but I'm not, the physical side, other than worrying about whether I could do it physically, it's so much more than that. It's a richness. It's about meeting people along the way. It's about having faith that everything that you need will be taken care of. It's about simplicity. I mean, I did not carry everything I owned on my back. I had a small day pack. And I had a small suitcase get carried from bed and breakfast to bed and breakfast. I'm not a hostile girl. This girl needs her sleep, and she really likes a nice hot shower at the end of every day. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Did you go with a group, or did you go with friends, or?
So I did a little bit of both. So the first section, so I did 2 sections this time. The first section was with a friend of mine called Heather Waring. So she and I did the first section together. And then in La Granja, we had Heather led a group, and I was part of the group that she led on the second section. So it was a little bit of both. But next time I go, I'm going by myself. I'm going to walk.
Wow.
That's the next challenge, is to walk by myself. The next leg. So yeah.
You can do it, Debbie.
Yeah, I can.
You can. My husband can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
And
you're not alone. I mean, so like,
as a hiker.
Yeah, your husband, I mean, he does some pretty intense stuff. I don't sleep in a tent. I don't cook my own food. That said, it's still not an easy thing to do. There's the physical piece. There's the long days. When I go next time, I will do shorter days and do more days, because I discovered that for me, actually experiencing the towns and seeing the history and seeing the art and getting to the cathedral for the pilgrim mass was just really important to me. And, enjoying the Rioja wine and...
Debbie, unless this is giving away something that you're working on later, can you share the story of, I guess it was probably on the second day when your heel had blown out and you were in so much pain.
Yeah. You
did a gratitude practice. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah. So, thank you for asking, Jill. Let me back up to last year. I did a section of the Camino in France. And the very first day I got hurt, and I hurt my knee. And also had blisters on my feet like crazy. So it was an agonizing 5-day walk, which I did with the help of a lot of painkillers and knee braces and all kinds of stuff. So this year, I really, I got different shoes. I changed the way I was walking. And so I was convinced that I changed my diet. I realized I had a lactose intolerance, which was making my knees swell. So I eliminated dairy, was walking pain-free, and did lots of training heights, no issues. So we get to the Pyrenees, 96-degree temperatures, and I noticed the first day that my heels are getting what's called a hot spot, which is sort of a red area before a blister forms. And so, okay, I was prepared. I had these gorgeous things called Compedes, which are like blister plasters that you put over that are silicone, and they absorb the rubbing. And so they typically they stop the blister from forming. However, with the extreme heat, my feet swelled And my shoes were not the right shoes, despite being fitted by a professional and having broken them in. So going down that second day, toward the end of the day, it was the most steep descent that I've ever experienced. And it was on loose shale. So if you've ever walked on shale, so it not only was loose shale, but it wasn't like straight down. And they had these almost like, I would call them like the ridges of a brontosaurus, whatever it's called now, were straight up and they were at angles. So you had to step between those on loose shale for about 2 hours. And so as we started to go down, I realized that on my right heel, I had a blister, and it was big, but I knew if I took my shoes off I knew my feet were swelling. If I took my shoes off, I would not get them back on. And where I was located, there was just literally no way. I had to just walk. And so about halfway down that 2.5 hour stretch, I felt my blister pop. And everything just went into my sock. It was the pain on a scale of 1 to 10 was about a 12. I mean, every footfall was just agony. And I realized that I just kept focusing on the pain. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try something different. And so what I decided to start doing was literally, my friend Heather, when she looked back, she's like, what are you saying? I was talking under my breath. And I started doing this mantra. Thank you, toes, for supporting my body. Thank you, feet, for carrying me all this way. Thank you, ankles. Thank you, calves. Thank you, thighs. Thank you, body, for carrying my backpack. Thank you, back, for supporting the weight. Thank you, lungs. Thank you, heart. And I started going through this mantra over and over. And I actually started thanking my blister for giving me information that I needed. And I realized after about doing it 3 or 4 times that I had zero pain, like zero pain. And as soon as I had that thought, of course, I had pain. So I thought, screw that. I'm just going to keep doing this mantra over and over. And so what a gift to realize the strength and the power of my thoughts so completely that I could go from a excruciating pain to zero. And that knowledge was such a gift, such a gift. So thank you for asking about that. So whenever you're feeling something, and I know that I've used it since, just focus on what's good, focus on something positive, and your body. So I did some research, and Margaret probably knows this, but when you're in pain and your brain is focused on something, it produces serotonin and dopamine, and the receptors in your brain acknowledge the pain. But when you focus on gratitude, endorphins are released, and it literally turns off the serotonin and dopamine receptors, and you literally cannot feel the pain. So there you go. That's my gift.
Great story. Well, so any questions, any comments, any questions for Debbie? Go ahead anytime. Go ahead, Margaret.
I just commend you for having the courage and wherewithal to do this. Another friend of mine, a fellow speaker, and he actually works with the fire department, and he's done it about 3 times. While you were in Spain, he was riding his bicycle from I don't know where across Europe. So for weeks and weeks, and then and ended up, I believe, in Rome, and his wife flew in, and they spent some time there. So yeah, it's interesting journeys that people take, and he did his by himself. So and he's walked by himself several times. And I look at you and people like him having the courage to do that, and I just commend you for it.
Well, thank you, Margaret. It was interesting that you say that, because we did see bikers, and as hard as it was to walk up over the Pyrenees and go down, those shale, people were doing that on bicycles. And honest to God, I'm like, I could never, I could if I chose to, but I would never put myself through that.
Yeah.
So that is really something that he has done it not once, not twice, but 3 times. Holy cow. And the
Yeah.
other thing that there's a wonderful movie out, if you get a chance to see it, it's called I'll Push You.
Oh, okay.
And it's a true story. There's a book. The book is hilarious because it's written by 2 friends who were literally born in the hospital a couple of days apart, and they grew up together. And one of the guys developed a neuromuscular disease similar to ALS, where he's a graphic designer, and he lost even the use of his hands. So he has an adaptive computer that he uses now. But he was home one day watching the Travel Channel, and Rick Steves came on and did a show about the Camino. And he called his friend and said, I want to do the Camino. And his friend's response immediately was, I'll push you.
Aww.
So they trained for a year. And so I'll tell you, as we're going over these things, and the film is just phenomenal. They had the wherewithal to bring a film crew to film this, and the journey for them. So as hard as things were at some point, I'm like, he pushed his friend in a very specially adapted wheelchair, and people would come along and carry the wheelchair, were places that you cannot even, I could not even imagine going on a bicycle or so yeah, if you get a chance to see that film, The Way is very inspirational, and the documentary I'll Push You is just incredible.
I learned about the Camino first through reading Paulo Coelho's book, which I can't remember the name of it, but that's where, and then several years later, The Way came out. So
it's called The Pilgrimage.
Yes.
Yeah, which was The Pilgrimage. Paulo Coelho he went on his own pilgrimage and then wrote the book, The Pilgrimage, and it was the inspiration actually for The Alchemist.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Which
cool.
is 2 of my favorite books.
Yeah, Alchemist is,
Yeah.
yeah. So I didn't thank you, Margaret. I didn't even tell you about this. So this actually, people used to, when they would show up, so the rules along the Camino is if you had your passport, you were considered a pilgrim. And if you had this was anywhere you stopped, they had to give you this full of food. This was your serving of food.
Oh, wow.
You used also to drink from. This is a mini gourd, but they would carry a gourd on their knapsack, and it would be hollowed out, and they would use it to drink from the stream, the fountains along the way. So this is symbolic today, but this was a serving of food.
Not much.
Yeah, not much. And they would be given it for free because they were on religious pilgrimage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Love the history. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. The history is so cool. Any other comments or anything? Go ahead, Judy.
Question: when you're walking, like you have your map, but are there people along the way that you meet and talk to, or are they at certain points that show you and tell you things, or is this just all written and you got to figure it out yourself?
Yeah, so it's all written. And this is actually the guidebook. This particular book just goes from Santiago to, from Saint-Jean to Santiago, and it tells you how to prepare. It tells you every journey. Like it'll tell you the history of a town that you're going into. We discovered, so it was interesting because the first day up over the Pyrenees, he talks about the ascent. And then he writes about this treacherous descent into Roncesvalles, which wasn't true. The treacherous descent, which wasn't even mentioned in this guidebook, was the second day, the worst descent of all. And so I think sometimes when people get back, they forget. But like here's the path. They show you the path. So the neat thing is that those arrows that you see, or the Camino shell and the arrow, Those are all over the whole way. Sometimes they're spray painted onto the sides of buildings. Sometimes they're literal signposts, sometimes. So you just follow them. It's very well marked. In France, it's not as well marked, but you follow, and you can get lost, especially if the fog descends. That's where most of the accidents happen, is when there's fog or driving rain. But no, there aren't people along the way to tell you things. You can stop. There are most big towns have tourist hubs. You can stop in and talk to them. The hostels or the bed and breakfasts, the people are always talking. And along the way, one of the coolest things is meeting people from other countries and just talking to them about why they're walking. And then typically what happens, because you all start at the same time, you run into each other at different points. There was this mom and daughter who hadn't seen each other in 6 years. The daughter was teaching English in Taiwan, and the mother lived in Canada, is where they were from. And so they agreed to meet and do this pilgrimage together. And so we met them the very first day. We saw them along the way. Sometimes we saw them separated because they were fighting. So they agreed that for the sake of their relationship, they would separate for a couple of days and then plan to meet up in a certain town. And we would run into them. As soon as we would think about them, we would run into them. And so that was just lovely. There was 2 friends that we met, 2 childhood friends from Ireland. One of them lived in Dublin and one lived in Galway. And every year they would meet up and walk part of the Camino together just for 5 days. There were people we met from California who were just doing it for the sake of doing it. So just you meet all different kinds of people. Some you see once, some you never see again, some you see every day, some you run into in the weirdest places.
Ooh, that's another story for another day, I think.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share some of my journey and some of my favorite photographs.
Thank you. It was so exciting, even though I followed your Facebook page, but to see it and to hear more about it and all that was just really cool. So thank you, Debbie. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we'll go ahead and move now to the announcement portion. This is your chance to tell us what you're promoting, what referrals you're looking for, anything that you'd like to share. And so I'll start at the bottom and work my way up this time. So Judy Fritz, you're up first.
Let's see. I don't know real announcements. Just closing out the year and just making plans for 2019 and any referrals of people that want to make a difference in their new year and want to stop doing everything on their own, have a little bit more freedom and a little bit more choice to do the things that they should be doing and leaving our team to do the rest. We are here for them.
Yay. Thank you, Judy.
Thank
Connie
you.
Joe, what's new with you? What's up?
Well, next week I'm going to a mastermind with other people that are doing the Money Guides journey.
Cool.
So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to sharing what I learned there with you. So I'm really excited.
Looking forward to that for sure. When are you going? What dates are you away?
It's just the 4th and the 5th.
Oh, okay.
Which I can't believe it's December next week.
I know.
I know.
Oh my God, what happened to the year?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, good. Keep us posted. Good. Have fun too. Yeah. Hannah.
Just want to say thank you, Debbie, for the presentation. It was so cool to see. And I have a new video out since yesterday. I will share the link.
Cool.
And this time it's about how you can be your own in-house graphic designer. So it's a checklist of things that you can do. So I will recommend that. And if you don't want to do it yourself, I'm always here.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Hannah. Thank Thank you. Please sure put the link in for us because I hadn't seen it. So I'm glad you mentioned it because I do try to keep an eye out for your videos because they're so good. Mary Beth.
Wow. It's hard to switch back to business after hearing this, Debbie. Thank you for sharing. It was really hard to go like, oh, I got to talk stuff. Debbie, but did you notice that if you look at your video, I was looking for this stuff. There's like little orbs all the way through it. Where the heck? What the heck's that? A lot of good energy there. That always tells me there's I don't know, guides, angels, fairies. I have no idea who was there, but they were hanging out in that video. That's incredible. Uconnect. I still have 3 spots open if anybody wants to learn how to connect with their own animals. So, I have a secret coupon that I'm giving to my clients, but anybody who's here or anybody who would like to do that, I will share the secret coupon.
Ooh.
People would like to get it because I've already offered it to bunches of folks, and I want to get the folks who are like on fire to do this with their people. So I think the best thing would be just to email me. Okay, we're starting in January, so you already got my email address. So thanks.
Thanks, Mary Beth.
Okay.
Margaret?
Well, I have two fun announcements. Well, one is fun and the other is a business promotion. So I shared at lunch with Jill the other day that I had the opportunity on Saturday of last week to meet Sarah Blakely at one of our local shops here. So I was sitting on the sofa talking to her mom, and we were talking about how well our daughters were doing. My daughter's not quite a billionaire, but still being very successful in her business. And anyway, I talked about, mentioned something about my book. And when I said, and it helps you transform your negative self-talk, she said, what's the name of that? So I sent her an email with a picture. And then I thought, but I didn't get, because we were both walking out the door because it was time to leave. Well, I sent yesterday, I followed up and said, here's the actual link if you're still interested in buying the book. She bought it last night.
Yay!
So I'll be following up to say, hey, would you like me to ship it to you, deliver it to you, or meet for coffee? So that's on my list to do today.
That's awesome. Those who know, Sarah Blakely is the founder of Spanx, which is
and she grew up here in Clearwater, so their family is
brilliant
here.
mind behind very tight girdles. Because I don't know if Hannah has Spanx in Norway, Sweden.
Yeah. The business promotion I have going on that's good through midnight tomorrow night is a LinkedIn special. You can get it as a gift certificate or to use up until February 28th. And it is, you can get LinkedIn. I will help you with your LinkedIn profile. And it's regularly $250 for $150. So it's a good gift. It's a good thing to do for yourself. And this is the time of year to do those things because we're not always as busy this time of year as we would like to be. So it's a good way to take your business to the next level for 2019.
Thank you, Margaret. And yes, I had such a great time. We got to see each other in person. With Judy Kane and Susan Rose. It was a lovely lunch. So anytime you come to Florida, let us know.
Absolutely. I love Connie Jo's comment. Yes, we do have legs.
Yes, that was awesome. Beautiful legs. Debbie, what announcements do you have?
I'm muted. I just want to say thank you for having me today. And I wanted to call out Hannah because of reading her book and having the privilege of editing it. I don't know if she's noticed that I've really focused on branding my Instagram images. I was like all over the place and I'm like, damn it, I have to do but every time I create one, I do that. So thank you for that, Hannah. And I, as you know, am hosting my annual blog planning day on the 14th of December for people who haven't attended one before. And what we're doing is taking all the stress out of planning your 2019 blog. I do it in a very systematic way. I do some teaching. There's some actual doing. So at the end, everyone has a full year's worth of headline ideas for their blogs for the whole year. And I'll brag specifically about Mary Beth is that she blogged, I think, pretty much, if not every week last year using this process, and really proud of her. So
Good for her.
I'll put the thing in here. So thank you.
It made a huge difference. Thank you. I'm like, talk about visibility. It's paying off.
It does, yeah. She put the link. Oh, good. So I think she put the links in, Debbie. Yeah.
And I'm being the UConnect class. If anybody wants to connect with me and Princess Leia, join us.
I believe Judy Kane is in that class. Is that right? She was telling us at lunch. So you get to connect with Judy and her menagerie. She's got some cute cats and a dog. That's awesome. Faye, your turn.
Thank you, Debbie, for that trip. That was awesome. Thank you. My good news is I got a peek at my website yesterday, and I'm kind of excited about it, more than kind, to be honest with you. And last night, a friend came over, and we were working on my rack cards. So I feel like the year is going to end in a positive fashion of getting things accomplished. I've been dragging my feet on some of it. I am going to hold myself accountable and responsible for having not done some of this stuff sooner. But now that the ball is rolling, I'm thanking and grateful to the people that are involved in helping me be motivated. And Connie Joe yesterday had a really cute idea, and I mentioned it to about 4 people after I saw Connie Joe at a meeting. And they're like, oh my God, that's so cute. So in addition, and for an upcharge, of course, Connie Joe suggested I do embroidery work. And I guess I've said that before, but it never really made sense because nobody really sees it. It's just stuff I do for us now. And I showed Connie Joe a picture of a top I made for my granddaughter as part of her Hanukkah present the day before. So yesterday, Connie Joe's like, well, now that I know you embroider, this is what I think you should do. So she suggested that I take and make a heart and embroider the to and the from and stuff it. And I think that's such a cute idea. So she told me that when we first kind of got together yesterday, and then we had our meeting with the group we were with. And afterwards I said, well, maybe I'll just take red felt and make a tag. And she's like, no, you have to stuff it. You need to hold on to it. I was like, all right, it's going to be stuffed. So I mentioned it to a few people yesterday afternoon, and they thought Connie Joe was brilliant. I'm adding it. Brilliant. We're going to do the heart. Isn't that a cute idea?
I love it. You got a little keepsake too, right?
You're so cute, Connie Joe.
Oh,
yes, it's all around.
Yay. Okay, I can't wait to see
it was brilliant.
Can't wait to see your website, Faye. That's awesome too.
I can't wait to see it either. But the peak was cute. And I am looking for an opportunity. If anybody knows a boutique that may be interested in carrying the capes, I would love the opportunity to have a conversation about that.
Okay, very cool. I'll go last but not least. On my business side, today's the last day to sign up for the Facebook Live Challenge, which is the December learning module in the Celestial Circle. All the looks of dread you see on the screen is because of that.
How did you see that when I read the email, too?
I can see the collective eye rolls. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it because we need to be visible. We're going to do it the busiest month of the year because we're going to prove to ourselves that we can do anything. So I'm looking forward to that. If you're interested or know someone who would like to kick up their visibility, I put the link in the chat box. And then swinging real quick over to the chapter news next week, my brother-in-law is the guest speaker, Charlie Will. I'm just so proud of him. He is going to talk to you about overcoming fear, which is something he's had to battle with his new business. He coaches people on how to row, like for fitness. And he has a day job, and he's a really neat fellow. Of course, I'm biased. But anyway, so he's going to come and join us. So please make sure to welcome him. And then after that, the following Friday is our open house. So I will get the event page up, and I will post all of those details in the Facebook group. So please, please, please think about who you'd like to invite to the open house. This is the time to join Virtual Networkers because we'll have a discount code. We'll have signing bonuses. We'll have your raffles, everything. This is the time. So please think about who you'd like to invite. Remember our meeting from last month where we talked about the positions, the seats that we have open, who we'd like to fill. We still need health coaches. We have a whole travel planners. We have all sorts of things. If you go back to your email or, let me know if you need it again. Let's make sure we're really inviting some wonderful people to the open house. Anyway, oh gosh, Han and I are combining a giveaway gift of a thorough website audit. Love, love, love. All right, what I'll do is I'll put the meeting stuff in the Facebook group. That way it's sort of archived, and that way you can just grab it. So I'll do all of that over the weekend. So you'll have that by Monday at the latest. So please, thank you for that. And I want to thank you all for coming today. Thank you again, Debbie, for your fabulous presentation. Super inspiring. Remember, when you reach kind of in the trenches, remember Debbie going down that mountain with her blister busted open. Be grateful. That's such a great message. So thank you all. Sending love. Mwah. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Ciao.
Ciao.